I stood up to my bully at school. Hit that subscribe button with those notifications on. After watching the whole video, leave me a comment what you would have done in my situation. I'm pretty sure I made the right decision, but you can give me your opinions. Right, let's get on with the story. Okay, so this is actually a pretty, emotional story for me, and quite an inspirational one for any of you guys that are actually getting bullied right now. And honestly, bullying ruined my life. And this all started in like year 7 and continued all the way through until like year 8 or 9. Honestly, it sucked. Those 2 years that was happening to me, it was awful. And I don't wish this on anyone, and if you are getting bullied, you might actually find this video helps you out a bit, gives you some advice on what you should do, and if you guys do get bullied, you can always message me. I am always around for you guys to message me. I love talking to you guys, and if you have an issue, then tell me and I will try, and I do say try, because I don't always give the greatest advice, but I can, share my help. If you do want to message me, it's at Duckiesmh. Literally message me for whatever reason. Any help, I will help. So yeah, okay, now let's actually get on with it. Okay, so year 7, I'm like 12 years old, I'm pretty sure it's year 7. I just joined secondary school, which makes this even worse. And obviously, joining secondary school, you have to meet like hundreds of new people in your year, and it kind of sucks. You have to work out who's nice, who's bad, and then you've got your little group of friends that mine was separated, which really sucks. So obviously, when you go into year 7, you pick what school you want to go to in year 6, and you go to that different school. In my school, in my area, there is about 5 schools that you can pick. So all of my friends were scattered everywhere. It was horrible. So going into this new school, I literally had my best friend, which I've made a video about before, and like 2 or 3 other friends I had that were really nice people, and we would spend like a lot of time at school together. So I had my little group, but there was like a bunch of new people in year 7. I mean, when you go into this year 7, there is 10 form groups. So that's 10 forms with 30 people in it. There's literally a new like 250 people. But the difference is they were all my age. The kid that actually started bullying me was the year above. So I had no chance with this kid. I mean, he was way taller than me, way bigger than me, and older than me. He just knew more than me. It honestly just felt unfair. So anyway, the first day of school is absolutely fine. Well, the first like 3 months at school are absolutely fine. I don't get bullied, I meet new people, I make new friends, and I've settled into the school amazing. I honestly thought this school was going to be awesome. I was going to have such a great time here. The next like 7 years I'm here is going to be so dope. But then everything changed around like Christmas time. I say Christmas, I mean like the end of November to the start of December. It's not really Christmas thinking about it. So anyway, at the end of November, and I remember this day distinctly because it just set off so many things. It didn't start off aggressive. It didn't start off anything bad. I thought it was a joke at first. So the way my school worked is there were huge hallways everywhere. Well, I say huge, skinny hallways everywhere. And at the end of every lesson, there would be hundreds of kids walking through each hallway. It was horrible. You were going to get beaten up. So I'm a year 7 at this point, and the kid is a year 8. He's coming the opposite way to me. And obviously with hallways, there's like, people on the left go that way, people on the right go that way. It all makes sense. And then this kid comes past. So I'm on the left side, I'm doing my thing, and I'm not like on the wall on the left. I'm kind of in the middle, but on the left. I'm on my side. This kid from year 8 just comes steamrolling into me, like full on, pelts into me. And I should say, I wasn't a small person at this point. I started swimming. I was doing like 12 hours of swimming a week, which is quite a lot. I had to get up at like 5 a.m. in the morning to go training. I was a pretty like beefy year 7, I guess. I wasn't one of these like skeleton year 7s that are around now. I mean, they are just, I don't know what they're doing. Their parents need to feed them some food. So I, kind of go backwards a little bit, but this kid hurts himself on me. He hits his shoulder and all of his friends are around him, and it looked kind of embarrassing for him. Again, I'm in year 7. I didn't want to do anything. I'm scared. There's so many tall people around me. So I say, oh, I'm really sorry, even though it was his fault. And then he tells me he's going to get me and calls me just an awful word, to be honest, and I don't even want to say it. But it's another word for a disabled person. So anyway, this is the start of everything. This kid from then just like targeted me. Every single time we'd walk past each other in the hallway, he'd smack into me. Every time I was playing football or we were doing year 7s v year 8s on the field, he would plow into me. Everything he could, he would to try and hurt me. That happened for around about 1 or 2 months. Now we're into the new year. And this was all happening before Christmas. So I was like, you know what? I'll let the school break up. I'll come back. New year, new start. It's going to be awesome. I'm sort of, settled into year 7. I've been there for like 4 or 5 months now. It's going to be dope. And he probably would have forgotten about me. Nope. I get back on like January the 6th. and it all starts again. He's shoving into me, he's bumping into me, trying to hurt me, always. And then about 2 weeks ago, it's like the middle of January, and then it got worse. It went up a level. He started calling me names. So I would bike to school most days, and I obviously biked on my own. I'd have to grab my bike from the bike shed when I go home. And then there's no one around me, and he would start calling me, stupid names, like silly names. I wear glasses, so he called me Four Eyes, for example. And that insult honestly sucks. It's such a dumb insult, but it does so much damage. So anyway, now stuff was getting real, and I did the worst possible thing you can ever do, literally, ever do when you are being bullied. And that is, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my friends, I didn't tell my mum, I didn't tell school, I didn't tell anyone about anything. I just let it happen. I didn't retaliate because I didn't think I could do anything about it, because he's in year 8, he's bigger than me, I'm weaker, I guess. Which I wasn't, actually. You'll find out at the end of the video, but... And this literally happens for the rest of year 7. Just every day, a different word. Every day, a different push. It made my school life and my year 7 awful. And it got to a point where I started, telling my mum I didn't feel well. I was skiving days off school. I wouldn't walk down particular corridors. Okay, it's this bad. I worked out what lessons he had at what weeks, because basically the way my school works is you have like a 2-week roster. So 1 week you have lessons, and then another week you have lessons, and then you go back to the week before. I would work out which corridors I would see him in, and then plan my route to go around those corridors. I mean, it changed my life in such a bad way that it just sucked. And it's really, I've never opened up about this to anyone, really. This is the first time I'm actually making it public to thousands of people. I don't know if that's a great idea, but we're over it now. I'm like 8 years down the line. So I think I'm good. So anyway, the end of year 7 happens. I go home, I've got the whole summer, and I go back to being happy Jackson. I'm back to being happy. I'm not, sad like I was throughout the year. And my mum sort of realised that I was sad all the time. She would always ask me, like, what's happened at school? What's going on? Why don't you want to go? And I would always just say, like, some dumb excuse. Like, oh, I just don't like school, or I don't like a teacher, or some stupid thing. Like, oh, that lesson's hard, And she'd be like, okay. And secretly inside, I knew she knew that it wasn't a reason. But my mum's such a laid back person, but supportive at the same time, that she wouldn't want to interrogate me about it. She wants me to come to her in my open time, if that makes sense. So anyway, summer holiday, awesome. Love it, spend loads of time with my best mate, it's great. And then year 8 comes around, and the first day of school, I get there after a struggle. But I thought maybe, he'd forget. I get back, I'm now in year 8, he's in year 9. He got bigger. Literally, he got freaking bigger. I don't understand how. I think he went to the gym or something. I don't know. This kid was now like butch. I didn't really recognize him. But the difference is he didn't grow. He just grew outwards. I grew in height. In year 8, I was actually like now nearly his height. And I'd still been swimming loads, so I would guess I was a little bit bigger and a little bit less of a wimp. I also did a lot of fighting with my brother over the summer holidays, so I learned some tactics, So it all starts again, literally like a week. He finds me after a week, starts calling me names, he starts pushing me, and then it happens. The worst day of my school career ever. We're playing football on the field, and I tackle him. He stands up and punches me in the face in front of literally everyone, and I just fall to the floor. I crumble to the floor like a sack of potatoes. It hurt. It honestly hurt. So I fall to the floor. Obviously I didn't cry or anything. I was just laying there. And I didn't do anything back. I didn't retaliate. I didn't stand up and fight for myself. I didn't do it. I just let him do it, and I just sat there like a cat. A wet cat. So now I knew something had to change. I knew for a fact. This is what... It was a bad day, but honestly, it changed me. Because I knew for a fact that this couldn't happen anymore, and I knew I had to do something. This also changed my life because I started boxing. Yeah, I took up boxing. I don't know if it was it was a good idea, but yeah. So I took up boxing. I was doing boxing and swimming now, and the boxing helped my swimming anyway. It just made me stronger, so it was fine. But I was learning, fighting tactics. I was learning how to punch properly, how to do all this different stuff, how to win in the fight examples. And this went on for like 4 months. We're now at like December/January of year 8. So, I mean, I did this for a while. But still in the back of my head, I didn't forget that day from September. I just knew it how. And this kid still bullied me every single day. I still just let him do it, didn't say anything. And then the day comes. I remember this day very, very specifically. The 20th of December, the very last day of the school before Christmas. I was pumped up. I went into school with a fighting mood, okay? I go into school, and I'm not saying anyone should just go in and like destroy their bully, but It worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you. Not saying you should do it. That is a bad thing. But I'm just saying, you know, if you get what I mean. So I go into school and I feel different. I feel more confident. I'm ready. So obviously I had this roster in my head. I knew what lessons he was in and I was going to meet him in the corridor. The last lesson of the day, I knew what class he was in the very end of the day. The last lesson. So as soon as that lesson finished, I ran over to his classroom and I met him in the corridor. Obviously I did this on the last day so I didn't get in trouble. So this kid, you know, like I said, I pretend like I'm meant to be just like walking past this kid. Like, oh, hi. I walk past this kid and again, he shoves into me. But the difference is I gave him like a shoulder. I swung into him. And he realised that. So he turned around after walking past me and did that whole, you know, when bullies do that like whole square up thing? It's really cringy. He did the whole square up thing to me. And I didn't even allow him to talk, okay? I just hit him. Hit him with a hard hook. Smacked him right in the face, in the nose. He fell to the floor like a sack of potatoes and honestly, his nose was bleeding. He even started crying, which was embarrassing. I mean, there was a lot of people around, so he fell to the floor, started crying like a little girl. I laughed, and honestly, it completely worked. He never came near me again. Ever. He never came near me again. That, and basically after year 8, I had a huge growth spurt and turned into a 6-foot Gigantosaurus Rex, so he didn't want to touch me anyway. But that's the whole story of how I stood up to my bully. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.